All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Elevate Your Grind live from the Benzinga Capital Conference here on 420. It has been an amazing conference. We had some great interviews. We're only going to bring you more. I have somebody here who is near and dear to my heart. It was a place that I really enjoyed spending a year of my life. And if it wasn't for Ricky Williams, I'd probably still be there. Paul, one of the few people who started after I did, but made a huge impact when you got there. How have you enjoyed being in the cannabis industry and being in springbig?
It's been an amazing first year with springbig. Go back 18 months and I didn't think a great deal about what was happening in the cannabis industry. But I think, over the last 12 months, I've realized this is just such a dynamic, evolving, and exciting marketplace. It's a great place to be.
It is. And, it's funny. Springbig was always a place that I aspired to work to because I come from technology and they were a major technology company in Boca where I live, but also focused on cannabis. And I know that shift happened 5-6 years ago, maybe even longer, because I forget my pitch. I'm not there anymore. But, it was a great place to work. And I know that they brought in people to take it to the next level. I think you guys are probably one of the best platforms for customer outreach in the industry. And clearly I'm biased because I was there for a year.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Todd. And the reason that we've developed such a strong technology-based platform is that we've got a great mix of technology and marketing experience from other sectors, and not least from Jeff Harris, the CEO, who's done this in other marketplaces. But also we've brought in people that have come from the industry. And now I think we've got a fairly unique blend of both technology experience and cannabis experience.
Agreed. I think you guys have such a great core of original employees from springbig, and they make everybody feel so welcome there. I remember my time there, and Michaela, Eric, Tommy, even Jeff. I remember I sat out where your office is now, or where it was in Jeff's office, and even though it was 120 person company, it did still feel like a family. It was great there.
Yeah, and the culture of the organization is something really special. We're now up to 170 people. Obviously not all in Boca. Some of those are out in Seattle, and some are up in Toronto. But there's a real family culture and atmosphere, and everybody is so passionate about what we're trying to achieve, and that's important, and that's almost unique in companies nowadays.
Well, the platform is great, and I know that retailers have been using it forever. And when I was there, we were focusing on brands, and I'm curious to see how the brands are adopting the platform because, I will be honest, one of our challenges that we had was brands didn't understand the right way to market. And I still think a lot of brands don't. Luckily, the brands that did understand how to market loved the platform. So brands like Her Highness and other ones that I know that I worked with, and clearly I know my experience, but there are a lot of brands. And I remember when the regulations changed that they couldn't send pictures of nugs of weed or joints, and they panicked. And I remember thinking to myself, this should be the greatest thing in the world to you, because now you actually have to market and figure out what does your brand mean and what does it stand for. So I'm hoping that you guys continue to find the dominant brands and give them access to the platform, which is the best to reach their audience.
Yeah, and we're increasingly doing that, and we're getting more and more traction on that brands initiative, and I think that's driven because of the retail reach that we've got. We service more than 2,400 retail outlets throughout the United States and Canada. And that means by the brands now partnering with those retailers and being able to focus on specific retailers that they want to promote through, that creates a bit of it's a virtuous circle.
Yeah.
The more retailers we've got, the more attractive it is to brands. The more brands we've got, the more attractive it is to retailers. And that virtuous circle, which in your day was probably just starting to get some momentum. That momentum is a snowball effect. Once it starts, the momentum increases, and that coupled with the 50 million consumers we've got on the database, it's proving really, really strong now.
It's interesting because when we would start, I would look at brands by how much they sold in a market, and I didn't realize that I had to look at a brand's marketing. I had to look at companies like Old Pal and Her Highness that actually figured out their messaging, because no matter how well you sold, if you were just sending a picture of a nug through text message, like it was just a reminder. It wasn't an ad or it wasn't anything else like that. So it was really interesting to see. And then I know they built out a great team to actually get people to do that. So it was a great journey. So now that you guys dominant in the text message space, dominant in loyalty, what's next for springbig? What other areas are you guys looking to focus in? Is there a data play? Is there anything else?
Yeah, and springbig is all about enhancing that consumer experience and being able to provide targeted consumers to retailers and brands. So I think data has an important place to play in that going forward. Marketing that is data-driven marketing is usually the more effective marketing. And I think increasingly people are starting to understand that. So there's a data play. There's also, more around customer acquisition. We do a great job on retaining and growing customers and increasing the value of those customers through them being loyal, recurring customers. But we can also help retailers and brands in customer acquisition. So I think there's a lot that the springbig can do beyond the current platform going forward.
Very cool. I mean, to me, you guys are the heart of the ecosystem. So like you go back, and not to get nerdy here, but I already mentioned on an early podcast, but Steve Jobs saw, there being an ecosystem of Apple products with one centralized location that everything accessed, right? When you look at what retailers are doing with springbig, all of their customer information is in there. It's essentially their CRM system, for lack of a better term. So if you guys are capturing the hearts and minds there, I feel like there are so many different bolt-ons you can do to just own that ecosystem.
Yeah, and we're right in the middle of that ecosystem. The integrations that we have through point of sale, through e-commerce platforms, through data providers, we're using all that data for the benefit of retailers and brands, then to be able to drive segmentation in their marketing programs. And I think that as the cannabis industry just continues to evolve and mature and become more sophisticated, that data is going to be critical. And I think I absolutely agree with you, Todd, that springbig plays a central role right in the middle of that wheel, right in the middle of the ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, I was there for a year, and the only thing that would have taken me away was to actually be part of a cannabis brand. Yeah. So, I love everybody at springbig. It was a great time in my life. I think it's a great place and a great piece of technology. And it's hard because I usually speak very highly of the guests on my show, but I've had experience there. So it's hard to not speak highly of you guys. And all my friends are here at the show. Even Michaela, I haven't seen Tommy in forever, and you guys got him here. So you guys are showing up in full force. I see you at Hall of Flowers. What excites you over the next year, 2 years? I know there's a potential go public. I know there's a lot of things on the roadmap. Is there anything that is public information you can share that excites you over the next year or two?
Yeah, and it's you're right. We're very close to going public. We announced the transaction back in November of last year that we were merging with Tuatara Capital Acquisition Corp.
No heads up when I put my notice in, like, hold on a little bit. It's going to be good for you, but it's okay. I don't hold it against them. I'm joking, obviously.
So we're and that's exciting. That's exciting for all the employees. We're going to be a publicly listed company on the NASDAQ. So we'll be on a New York exchange, and that obviously brings lots of benefits of access to the deepest pool of capital in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that springbig is very, very capital efficient. We don't lose a lot of money. We invest in the core business, but we invest sensibly and wisely. So the capital we're raising is going to allow us to start down an M&A acquisition strategy, and that's going to play to some of the points you were making about data opportunities, customer acquisition opportunities, and just widening our scope and within that ecosystem.
Very cool. I think that's incredibly exciting. The fact that you guys are on the US exchange to me is huge, because the more cannabis companies that we can have that can get the attention of mainstream America, especially investors, and pull them back into this space. I feel like a lot of people invested early on, especially in early public funds. And, you know, you had the bubble burst a little bit and they're gun shy, right? And we see that even in the private space. And given the atmosphere right now, investors, I don't want to say they're scared money, but they're definitely a lot more mature than they were before. They're a lot more cautious. And I think there's a lot of cautious tales in this industry. To see a company like you guys go on the New York Exchange, kind of fight the stigma of cannabis investing, and then even leveraging your data to hopefully one day show what the profiles of the average cannabis consumer is. And it's probably not what everybody thinks. I hope that's something that you guys get the ability to do.
Yeah, I think the access on the public exchange in New York on the Nasdaq is just going to give the retail investor in the United States opportunities that are relatively limited at the moment. I mean, we'll be one of very few cannabis tech companies listed.
Yeah.
The upside when some of the legislation changes over time is probably huge. And I think it does help in removing part of the stigma that is still attached with investing in this space.
Yeah. So, hey, you're paving the way for the rest of us little guys that are just getting started. So,
and it's going to be a very exciting time for all the employees in the company as well.
Very excited for all of them. Like I said, I'm very happy. There were very few things that would have pulled me out of there. Unfortunately, ex-NFL running back was one of them. So, Paul, thank you so much for sitting down. Looking forward to more conversations. Please give everyone my best.
All right. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.